And we're back for another edition of Inside Career Technical Training. I'm joined by myself, Ann Baldwin, and President and CEO of Porter and Chester Institute, Jim Beloga. Jim, always great to have you here on the program talking about all the wonderful things that are going on within the PCI family. Talk first about all the locations that you have here in Connecticut.
Ann, thanks for having me. And in Connecticut, we have 6 locations. And again, we started, actually, this is where we started back in 1946 for returning military personnel. So we started in, it wasn't CAD back then, but drafting and design and basically architectural engineering. So that's where we started. So we're almost 75 years old, which is pretty exciting. And we do have 6 campuses in the state, starting in Enfield, Connecticut, Rocky Hill, Connecticut. We also have a new campus that we just relocated in Hamden, Connecticut, as well as Waterbury, Stratford, and we also cover southeastern Connecticut in New London.
Yeah, it's great. You talk about how you kind of started in drafting, and I know I was down at your campus in New London. And there, the CAD program with Electric Boat right next door, it's really kind of come back to that, hasn't it? I know I've seen also at some of your career fairs that this, computer aided drafting and technology really is a hot field right now. There's a huge demand for those folks.
Yeah, no, I think that right now, again, if you look at everything that's made, there's a tremendous amount of design work that goes into all the stuff that we use or consume, and our program really sort of hits on primarily architectural and some mechanical CAD drafting, and the students do use a number of industry-leading software tools to really perfect and hone their skills, in addition to the actual theory that they learn as well. And so again, it's a program that sort of stood the test of time, and we're excited about it. It's a program that started us, if you will, and we continue to do fairly well in that program.
And you've kept up with the times too. That's the other piece of it. I know with your 3D printers. Now, I was just watching something on national news the other night about automobile dealerships or dealers actually that are going to be building cars in the future with 3D printers. I think we also learned how valuable they can be during this COVID-19 situation, where a lot of masks were actually designed and put together on 3D printers. So keeping up with the times, which I know for you that meant a real transition to virtual learning for all of your campus, both here in Connecticut and also with your YTI locations. But now we're trying to, and we are emerging a little bit, we're starting to open up because your folks have learned their classroom stuff, if you will, virtually. But now it's time for the hands-on. So now what happens? Your students come back to your campuses?
Yeah. So what we're doing right now is the students spent the first 6 weeks of the spring term in a remote learning environment, so learning online, and we're hopeful that come Monday, June 1st, we'll be able to bring all the students back in using the appropriate social distancing and infection control protocols to get them back into either the campus, into their industry modeled lab, so they can actually apply the theory, if you will, and their practical, tangible skills now. And then if you're in a healthcare area, the clinical sites that our students do participate in, they're actually starting to open up now as well. So, we're hopeful that in relatively short order, the students will be able to come back on and again start touching things and bending things, and
that's the fun part.
Yeah, exactly, and really sort of honing their tangible skills.
Right. And congratulations, I guess, are due because you have a new addition.
We do.
Not a baby, but
right. Yeah. No,
if you could see his face.
Yeah. No, we've actually got a plumbing program that was recently approved in our New London campus, and we're really excited about that. That program is starting July 20th. The campus, for those of our listeners who aren't sure where it's at 470 Bank Street in New London, and it's a 12-month program. It's going to be offered in the day to start, and it'll be pretty similar to the program that we currently offer in our Hamden, Stratford, Waterbury, and Rocky Hill campus.
And classes are starting July 20th.
They are.
So this is a great opportunity. I don't know if anybody out there listening to this program has ever, you never plan for the need for a plumber. That's never a planned event, right? It's always a crisis.
Correct.
Like something's really happened
Bad.
and it's bad. So if you've ever tried to find a plumber and you know they get compensated, or I know they get compensated very well, this is great that you've added that plumbing program. And I want to talk a little bit about that New London campus because I was so impressed. I had the opportunity to go down there, not only in the location right there in Bank Street, which is really, New London has really reinvented itself in so many ways, but your dental program there. When I walked down the hall and walked in there, it's like I was in to me, it was like I was in a state of the art, dental office. Everything was just so unbelievable. And you talk about hands-on experience, you really are getting your hands on, today's technology and today's skills that you really need to know to be successful.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, I think if you look at our mission statement, we talk about industry modeled lab environments, and that's what we do. We work with local employers who participate in our program advisory committees, and and we listen to what their needs are, and we integrate their needs into our educational programs, so that when students come to one of our programs, they get the education around the theory piece of it, and then they also get the training, which is the practical application of the theory in an industry modeled lab. So when they go out, on their first job, nothing's, hopefully not too much is not going to be, it'll all be familiar to them.
Right.
So they'll be able to, know how to operate a dental chair, or know how to operate, a grinding machine for dental, or they'll know how to, bend conduit, if they're an electrician, or how to change a compressor, or take, take freon readings if they're an HVAC technician. So again, we're our education is really twofold in that you do learn the theory. You do spend time right now online in a remote environment, learning the sort of classroom piece of it, if you will, and the theory behind it. And then obviously we want our students to not only understand that theory, but also be able to practically apply it. And through that practical application, you then develop and hone your tangible skills that you can use when you go out, and hopefully find an essential job as defined by many of the governors in the states that we operate in. So again, we're really excited about this new plumbing program down in New London, just to sort of bring it back.
Right.
And again, classes do start July 20th, and I would just say that it's the average age of a plumber in Connecticut, I believe the last time I checked, was about 61. And it's an industry that I think nationwide is expected to grow, in really the mid sort of mid teens, if you will, 15-16% a year. So, like you had mentioned earlier, there's generally a fair amount of demand for plumbing, and if you think about it, all of the trades that we offer, we all like our plumbing to work. We all like hot and cold air,
Yep.
our HVAC program. We all like the lights and all the home automation that we have, and that's our electrical and our electronics program. So, right there, is just sort of a little brief piece of what we do.
And I think this, this stay at home, all these folks that have been kind of sitting back, maybe taking a couple steps back, maybe they have been considered a non-essential worker. So hopefully we've piqued your interest and given you some useful information as you continue to figure out what you want to be when you grow up, perhaps. But without further ado, all of our podcasts contain lots of information. Check them out, or check out again the website porterchester.edu. In the meantime, thanks to all of you for listening to this edition of Inside Career Technical Training.